Welcome to the eCommerce podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmondson. This is a podcast all about helping you to deliver e-commerce. Wow. And we have a very special guest today to help us do just that. Harry Drajpuch from Amware Fulfilment. We're going to be chatting about how to build a fulfillment infrastructure that will scale with your business. But before we jump into that, let me suggest a few other e-commerce podcast episodes to listen to that I also think you're going to enjoy. Check out my conversation with Justin Sim about the perfect warehouse and how it could save you time and money and make your life easier. Which, let's face it, sounds like a brilliant thing, right? And also check out my conversation with Matt Barnett about personalizing the customer journey to increase lifetime value. You can find both these episodes along with our entire back catalog for free on our website, ecommercepodcast.net. Head over there. It's easy. It's easy to find. You just need a web browser. That's it. Now, this episode is brought to you by the e-commerce cohort, which helps deliver e-commerce wow to your customers. Have you ever found it hard to keep up with the world of e-commerce? Well, it changes so fast and figuring it all out can actually be a bit of a nightmare. And that's before you even look at your own online business and try and figure out what you should work on. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Can I get an amen? Well, enter the e-commerce cohort to solve this problem and many others. It's a lightweight membership group with guided monthly sprints that cycle through all the key areas of e-commerce. The sole purpose of which is basically to help you grow and scale your online business, gives you clear, actionable jobs to be done, and you'll know what to work on. And also get the support you need to get it done. So whether you are just starting out in e-commerce or whether, like me, you've been around a little while, I like to call myself a well-established e-commercer, which is translated for dinosaur. But there you go. I encourage you to check it out. Honestly, if you are in e-commerce, wherever you are on your e-commerce journey, seriously check it out. It's going to be great for you. ecommercecohort.com is the website. Or you can email me directly, matt@ecommercepodcast.net, with any questions that you have. We'll do our level best to answer them because honestly, this thing is shamazing. Yes, it is. Check it out. Anyway, all of that said, without further ado, here's my conversation with the fantabulous Harry. Well, I am here with Harry Drajpuch. He is the CEO of Amware Fulfilment. And guess what, right? He's had 30 years experience in the logistics industry. He's been an executive in the whole thing. He has got so much experience in logistics, in executive management, people, parcels, the whole deal. We're going to get into that into this week's episode. In his previous role as the COO of Amware Logistics, he was responsible for technology and the performance of 8 nationwide fulfillment centers in the US. And prior to that, he was the president and CEO of Weber Logistics, where he had full P&L responsibility for 15 distribution centers and a large regional truckload fleet. Translate that into modern English. That sounds like a massive headache, but we're gonna talk to Harry about all of this. He's served as the CEO of third-party logistics provider Kane Is Able, which I think is one of the coolest company names I've come across for a while. And when he's not shaking things up in the boardroom, Harry will be likely off flying his plane. He is an instrument-rated pilot too, which Harry, welcome to the show. I'm excited to be talking to someone who's actually got their pilot's license, principally because last night I spent about an hour and a half looking at what it was going to take for me to get my private pilot's license here in the UK. But maybe we'll get onto that, maybe we won't. But welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Looking forward to it, Matt. Really excited about talking about my favorite subject, logistics.
How did you? I can't imagine, right? That as whereabouts in the States did you grow up?
In the Northeast, upstate New York.
So you definitely sound like you've got that kind of New York kind of accent going on there, which is just beautiful. But I can't imagine that as a kid growing up in the streets of New York, you sat there in school dreaming one day of running logistics companies. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've misread the situation. So how did you get into that whole thing?
So that's it's an interesting way that I wound up in logistics. Interestingly enough, after I graduated college with a marketing degree, the last thing I wanted to do was sell, but unfortunately, those were the only type of jobs available was selling. And I actually went to work for a business forms company, and I just happened to call on a trucking terminal. It was a cold call. I walked in, and he said, "We don't buy our forms here locally, but would you be interested in a career in trucking?" And I said, I don't know the first thing about trucking. And we just got to talk for an hour. And it just sounded like a very, very interesting field, certainly more interesting than business forms. And that's really how it
Mm.
started. From that point, I spent 10 years in local transportation. And then I was actually recruited by a company if I was interested now. And not in the rolling stock, but would I be interested in the four wall environment of warehousing? And so I made the transition. It's been 30 years I'll say in the warehousing logistics business, and it's really changed over the 30 years from,
Yeah.
industrial B2B to really the explosion of e-commerce and direct to consumers.
Mm. Yeah, I bet it's changed a lot. And I'm keen to pick your brains on that whole thing. So you got into logistics just because of a chance conversation with a guy who said, "Do you fancy getting into trucking?" a few years ago.
It was really that simple. The enticing thing about that was I was offered a company car and an expense account. And he said, you're going to spend half of your time entertaining people, lunch, dinner, weekends, your home. You need to become very, very close to these people who make decisions about which trucking company to use. So that kind of intrigued me. And it was, you can
Mm.
take people out, you can take them to places you like, you can take them out to places they like. As a young man, that was, really exciting. So I said, yeah, let's have a go at it.
That's interesting because it's one of the things that you don't do these days in e-commerce or in digital businesses is you don't do that. You don't take people out for lunch. You try and grab 10 minutes on a Zoom call somewhere if you can. Do you know what I mean? We seem to have, I don't know if we've lost that ability to interact with people per se, but maybe it's not as needed as much now. I don't know. Is this a lost skill, do you think, or am I misreading it?
No, I don't think you're misreading it. I think back then that was a segue to getting to know people and getting them to trust you. Um, Back then the industry was very, very heavily regulated, and so choices weren't as wide as they were today. It was kind of like the airline business, right? You get a seat, you go from A to B. It almost doesn't matter what airline it is; they serve a little different food, but the planes are all the same. The business was back then. So why go with Harry's company? And so you
Mm,
tried to build up this relationship where they trusted you personally, as opposed to trusting the company. Today, it's
mm,
very, very different, right? You're giving in the e-commerce world, you're giving your product, your lifeline, your revenue source to someone, to a company, and it's great that you like Harry, but is the company competent? Can the company, maneuver? And are they
mm.
flexible enough and agile enough to change with the volatility of what's going on out there? So today, you have to lead with a skill set and with a reputation and a service, and after that, you get to know your customers. You get to know them on a personal level so that they feel if there's a need, they've got someone that they can rely on, other than just an automated response when they call a number for help.
That's fascinating. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you are right. I mean, now if I like yesterday, I was looking up the details of a company, deciding whether or not to do business with them. First thing I did was go to Trustpilot, which is a review platform, and I wanted to see what reviews other people had left. And being Trustpilot, I had maybe 50% confidence that the reviews were genuine and real. So I did a bit more digging around that company. But I did it all from the comfort of my own home, all with my laptop. And within 10 minutes, I'd Googled and figured enough out about that company to go, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm out, right? There's just no way. There was no lunch, there was no wining, there was no dining, there was nothing like that. It was just all done from a review set. So I'm intrigued to know, Harry, how you see leadership in some respects going from what I would call old school, the let's go out to dinner, meet the family, to, oh look, you've got a bad review on Google, I'm not interested.
It's really about competence. It's really about energy for leadership. As I said, it's a volatile industry. It's not manufacturing. You can't say tomorrow I'm going to put out 500 orders or 5,000 orders. It's what excites people on the web to buy from my customers that drives volume. So people have to be extremely sharp, knowledgeable, understand the business, but more certainly a positive attitude, because customers are navigating out there, and they're competing, for the sales dollar. They've got to make themselves a little bit unique, and so the demands of the business change from day to day, and the expectation is that you can adapt to it. And you can be the nicest guy in the world. You can be the best dinner conversation. Everybody wants to hear about flying, but can you get my product to my customer in the way they want it, when they want it, and how they want it? Whenever they want it. That's the key thing today. And if you can do those things, then again, from a leadership perspective, you've got to have people who always think before they speak and try to figure out, how do I make this happen? Customers ask you for a specific reason, and when they ask you, it's something they really need. They're not trying to inconvenience me or my company. They're not trying to make it difficult. They're trying to make a buck. They're trying to sell. They're trying to compete. They're trying to understand the market and what they can do to stay ahead of their competitors, for that dollar. So that's the kind of leadership that you have to have. It's always thinking. Again, it's so very positive is important, because you're solving problems every day in the business.
Yeah, see, the thing about what you've just said is actually the principles of leadership have stayed in effect the same. What you've talked about today is not different to what you needed 20, 30 years ago. It's just a different environment in which they operate now, right? And understanding the environment. So let me just touch on the airplane thing. Because when I was doing that really unhealthy stalking thing, and I was just going through your LinkedIn profile, I saw on there that you spent a little bit of time mentoring teens in developing an interest in aviation. This is going back a few years, and so obviously you've been doing the flying thing for a fair while, and you've been involved in these sort of organizations that mentor teens in aviation. Why? How come trucking and flying, right? I mean, they're linked, I suppose. Is that how you got into the aviation thing, or was it just one day you just decided, you know what, I'm going to go fly a plane, watch Top Gun, and that's it, I'm off, which was my problem.
I got into aviation almost the same way I've got into logistics. I actually had a fear of flying. I didn't get on an airplane until I was 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to advance in the business world, you can't take the train everywhere. You can't take a bus. You can't take a car. At some point, you've got to get on an airplane. And my first experience on an airplane was white knuckle. Literally, I think I ripped out the arms. I was just gripping them so tight. The flight was an hour and a half. It was a short flight from Newark, New Jersey to Rochester, New York. I'll never forget it. And when I got off, my knees were shot. I just didn't like flying. I didn't know what kept airplanes in the air. So I decided to start to read up on it, learn about avionics, aviation, what keeps planes flying, what technology improvements have happened. And I used to drive by a glider port, a sail port, once a week. And for a birthday present, I got myself a demonstration flight in a glider, right? Motorless flight. And part of that demonstration was the fella in the back seat, the instructor, lets you take the stick, and you can maneuver the plane a little bit. It was like, really? You're gonna let me do that? He goes, don't worry, you won't hurt anything. So I grabbed that stick. I don't think I've ever held anything as tightly in my entire life. I made little movements on it. And I was so excited when he took it back that I didn't harm anything. That when I got down, when we landed, I walked right up to the office and bought 20 lessons to start that.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got into aviation.
And but you did it intentionally to overcome your fear of flying. So were you still afraid of flying when you got into that glider for the first time?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not as much. I mean, I wasn't white knuckled. There's still some trepidation. There's the newness of everything, and it's not what you know; it's what you don't know. And you think about everything that's ahead of you that you have to learn to be safe and proficient. But over the first few lessons, I became comfortable, and you get to a point where it almost becomes second nature to fly, in that you don't think about the adverse potential
Mm.
of something happening. You're always thinking about ways to just be safe, and if this happens and that happens, here's what you do. Flying is a very, very interesting thing. It's always preparing for an event. What if this happened? What if you ran out of fuel? What if circumstances changed? What if weather changed? What if you had to land immediately? You're always thinking about that when you're flying. And when you transition from that, business is no different. Everybody can do things when things go well, when you're not thrown a
Mm.
curveball, so to speak, when everything goes according to Hoyle, when everything happens as it should happen, life is good. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Things occur every day in the business, from simple things like printers start malfunctioning, and you lose your system, you lose electricity in the building. There's people don't show up for work for some reason. There's a high degree of call outs. There's a sickness. There's a snowstorm. Customers expect things to get done regardless of what happens. They expect us
Mm.
to have a plan B and a plan C, so that we can always make sure that their customers are not dissatisfied. And that's not an
Mm.
unreasonable expectation. That is in part why they come to us and ask us to handle their business.
Mm. That's a really interesting point. Always preparing for the unknown. And so I guess you learned that from flying. That, I think, Harry, is going to be a great excuse that I can use to say to my wife, listen, this is the reason why I should learn to fly. It's going to make me a better businessman.
It will make your weekends much more interesting, because of instead of a 3 hour drive to go enjoy something, you can now take a 3 hour flight, and in a 3 hour flight you can cover 600 miles, versus in a 3 hour drive where you're covering 180 miles or 120
Yeah.
kilometers, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and that's very true. And so is that what you do? Is that how you spend your weekends? You just fly different parts of the country and just hang out?
Used to do much more flying than I do today. With business the way it is today, and the organization growing the way it is, it takes a little bit more time to focus on that. But yes, we'll look for weekend getaways that are a 3 hour flight, and leave on a Friday night or on a Saturday morning and come home on a
Mm.
Sunday night. And I get to see some wonderful things as a result of that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That sounds fantastic. So, Harry, you've been around for 30 odd years in the fulfillment industry, right? That's a lot of trucks. That's a lot of miles that you've sort of been involved with. That's a lot of parcels shipped all over the place. What what are some of the key things that have changed? I mean, you alluded to, it used to be more business to business. Now e-commerce has sort of exploded. But what are some of the key things that you've seen change over those 30 years?
Oh, much has changed in the business. Where direct to consumer was almost minuscule 30 years ago, almost
Hmm.
unheard of. Today, it's the norm. So shipments that used to go into large distribution centers or large retailers, and they would handle the final, sale to the customer. Now it's us shipping directly to you. And
Hmm.
that experience is now when you open the package from us. I think what's changed over time is people's expectations. Used to be okay when you ordered something online. If it took a week or 8 days, that was kind of okay. That was kind of the norm, right? And then Amazon opened up and then said, hey, we can get your shipment to you next day. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden, hey, Harry, can you do next day? I mean, we
Mm.
want to get our product out the door. When we give you an order today, want you to fill it today, so our customer gets it next day. So expectations have changed from speed, from quality of service, the ability to do different things. Not just pick a unit, but to customize it, if you will, to make changes to it, to package differently, to do nice packaging, to add a special card with a personalization. Um, you know, 30 years ago, that was unheard of. You want us to what?
Mm.
No, we don't do that. We're not going to write anybody a card. Come on. We don't do that. And today, the expectation is to be as flexible and to figure out
Yeah.
whatever it is we're asking you to do, help us do that, because that's something that differentiates us in the marketplace.
That's a really, I like the word you use there, flexible, because I think that's what everybody wants, isn't it, these days? We just want you to we want you to do it a little bit differently for us, because we don't want to be the same as everybody else, because being seen to be the same as everybody else, being vanilla, being bland and boring, you don't tend to differentiate yourself. And so being flexible, I think, is important. It's interesting how you contrast that to 30 years ago. It's like, no, we're not going to write a card. Don't be crazy. But now, sure, do you want us to spray perfume on the card as well? We can put like a lipstick imprint on there. What do you want? Tell us what you want, and we can be a bit more flexible. How easy has it been for you guys to make that transition? The reason I'm asking this is because actually, for me, this is one of the things I think a lot of e-commerce businesses struggle themselves with, is being that flexible and adapting to changing consumer demand relatively quickly. Actually, like you say, a few years ago, you were fine with an 8-day delivery. Now you want it next day. But actually, I want it next day with the card, with the perfume, with the lipstick, with the chocolate. And I, as an e-commerce entrepreneur, have to keep up with that. So how have you dealt with that sort of rapid consumer change in demand?
So several things. It starts with people. Um, you have to make sure that the people in your organization and those that you hire, have the right attitude about willing to serve, about willing to please, about wanting to do a very, very good job, as opposed to just do a job. I come in, I'm here for
Mhm.
8 hours. Why do I have to do this? Why do they have to have that? Why do they have to make it difficult? I got to get all these orders out. Why do I have to do that? If you start with a base from that, you're pushing a rock uphill. But if you can be selective in your hiring, look for people that have that want to do something a little bit differently, that see it as a
Yeah.
challenge, that want to grow, that want to expand the things they do because it makes it interesting over the course of a day. And then internally from your own leadership team, and as I had mentioned earlier, positive energy is really, really critical, because there's all sorts of pressures on the business today, to be quick, to be perfect. Social media keeps my customers up at night, right? Just like you do. Everybody
Yeah.
gets online, not just to find out, should I try this
Mhm.
company? But once you try it, you write the review. Hey,
Yeah.
ordered something from ABC company, got the totally wrong thing. It was packaged miserably. I ordered three, I got two. Now I've got to return it. What a hassle! And that keeps my customers up at night. So the ability to have people, um, employees, put themselves in the end user's shoes. Would you want to open up a package that wasn't done right? That it appears somebody didn't care, just
Mhm.
pushed in there, shoved in, not taken care of, packaged wrong. You've waited for this thing, you've placed the order, and now it comes and you're disappointed. Now you have to wait for it again. If you can change the mindset from internal, this is the job I have to do and get it done. Here's when I come in the morning. Here's my inbox. When I go out, it's like this. I had a good day, as opposed to, did I take the care? Did I do it right? Did I think
Mhm.
about the person who's going to open this up and enjoy it? And I'm a part of that. So finding people who want to do that, and then having an atmosphere that walks the talk, that supports that, that is invested with them, and make sure that they understand what it is we're doing, and they have care and passion, and it
Mhm.
shows in your work.
That's you know what, if you're listening to the podcast, just rewind that section and write that down, because that's gold. Listen, we're going to carry on this conversation. There's a couple of things that Harry's just said that I really want to dig into. Specifically, I want to get into this whole opening experience and some of the things that we should think about when sending parcels out to customers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few short moments after this quick sponsor break.
Hey there, are you a business owner? Here at Orion Digital, we know firsthand that running an e-commerce business can be really hard work. As the online space gets more competitive, it is becoming even more challenging to stay ahead of the curve. We totally get it. So we want to help you succeed by offering a wide range of services, from fulfillment, marketing, customer service, and even coaching and consulting, just so that you can do what matters most. Save yourself the time and the money and let us handle the day-to-day tasks. This way, you can run your business without having to worry about the boring stuff. So what do you say? Are we a good fit for each other? Come check us out at oriondigital.com and let us know what you think.
Okay, I'm back with Harry. Now, Harry, before you talked about one of the keys to keeping up with the changing consumer demand. The phrase you used was to put yourself in your customer's shoes, right? Would you want to receive a parcel like this, for example? And for me, one of the messages I guess I've been banging on for a little while on my little soapbox is how you differentiate yourself from Amazon, right? Amazon are always going to get it there quicker than you, more than likely, because it's Amazon. But what Amazon do is they send their orders out in a very boring box with very boring internal packaging. Do you know what I mean? And it's like nothing about it is interesting. Nothing about it is inspiring. And so there's a real opportunity, I think, that we have as e-commerce entrepreneurs with what I call the opening experience, right? Because this is the first time that your customer has touched something from you. Everything up until this point has been pixels, right? They've looked on a website, they've got email notifications, it's all been pixels. Now it's actually real. It's the first time they get to touch anything. What have you noticed recently, I guess, about how people are packaging stuff and sending stuff out that are maybe some of the latest trends, some of the ideas that we should probably think about?
Well, it is all about the experience. Things that if you're shipping out things that have multiple items in the box, could be perfumes, could be skin creams, lotions, potions, could be nutraceuticals. You've got a whole 7-day regimen. I think aids that keep everything in a box orderly, inserts, foam that holds the product so that it looks neat when it comes. My customers are high-end retailers, if you will. They're not selling a commodity. They're selling a unique brand, a unique product. There's probably a little bit of an upcharge, or maybe a lot of an upcharge for that. They want that open box to look like someone had taken the time, the care. We do write personal notes. Some customers ask us to have a handwritten note that's addressed to Matt. Matt, thank you for your order. We hope you're happy. If there's any issue at all, whatever it may be, call, email. So I think as you think about how that happens to your customer, why you have to think about the smile that they get when they open it, and the fact that they're going to want to buy again because they're going to want that experience again. They're going to be justified in making the purchase and the potential premium for your product.
I like that. I like that. Think about the smile when they open it. That's you see, one of the brands that I've seen do this super well is obviously Apple, right? They, to the point where even how they wrap their cable, it just it's like a piece of art. Do you know what I mean? And the way it arrives perfectly sort of coiled in the box, and everything's fit and snug. Even when you open the box, it takes 5 minutes for it to, because it's so well fitting. Do you know what I mean? And this sort of suction type thing. Is this something? Is this something that something that e-commerce retailers should definitely be thinking about in terms of, there are brands like Apple pioneering this kind of thing, but there are people that do sell commodities. Yeah, I don't know, they may sell supplements or something like that. Should they be thinking about their packaging and always trying to sort of innovate and push forward?
For many reasons, yes. And I'll start with Amazon puts the smile outside the box. We put the smile inside the box.
You see, I love that.
Right. What is the difference between that? And there are numerous differences, but the answer is yes. It's as critical to think about what goes inside the package, other than the product. Again, to differentiate yourself and to make that purchase worthwhile, to make it that it justifies the premium that you're going to pay. Different kind of tissue papers that we add, colored, but it's also important to vary that, right? Month to month, quarter to quarter, make it a little bit different for people so that each time they look forward to something new when they open up the box. It's not just the product that my customers are selling. It's that whole experience that starts from the time they place the order till they actually receive the package. And that wait and that expense was all worthwhile. You noticed how Apple packages the product. Many people notice how it's not packaged. I remember getting one of my first shipments from Amazon, and it was actually a beverage, and they had thrown 2 6-packs into a container, put a little bit of paper in it, and that was it. When I got it, you could shake it, you could hear it. Opened it up, and listen, okay, I got it, right? That's mass production. It's kind of like it's the difference between buying a Chevy and a cheaper car, a base car, and really buying a BMW or a Mercedes or a Rolls, a high-end car.
That's brilliant. Harry, just so you know, I am going to steal that, but I will give you credit. Amazon put the smile on the outside of the box. We put the smile on the inside. I'm going to use that because that's genius. And I think, again, if you're listening to this and you have an e-commerce business, that's such a great idea. Just that simple principle. If you're competing with, Amazon e-tailers and you're kind of going, Amazon are doing this. It's like, yeah, but they put the smile on the outside of the box. You have a chance to put it on the inside. Like it. That I think is very clever. So if I'm a growing business, I've set my e-commerce business up and I'm starting to get some success. I'm coming to the point where I'm thinking, do I outsource my fulfillment? I've probably, to be fair, like most entrepreneurs when they start, been doing it from my kitchen and my stock's in the garage. Do you know what I mean? And I'm shipping out from the post office. I guess there comes a point, doesn't there, where you kind of go, do I outsource this or do I set my own warehouse up? And when we started out in e-commerce, to be fair, the only real option for us was to develop our own warehouse because it wasn't quite, like you say, the direct to consumer wasn't a common thing. UPS wouldn't deliver to people's houses unless you paid them an extra $20 or something crazy because they were used to shipping to businesses. What are some of the things that I should think about at that junction? Do you know what I mean? I'm stood there now and I'm thinking about these two possibilities. What are some of the things that I should think about?
Well, for sure, you should think about what is it going to cost you as your business grows to be able to do the back end, the shipping, to be able to do that service. What kind of space do you need? Do you buy it? Do you lease it? How big? How much? For how long? Can you manage people? Can you hire them? Can you onboard them? Can you keep them? Do you have the infrastructure? Do you want the infrastructure to do that? So, at the end of the day, is it going to be just as much focus on getting the product out the door as it is selling the product? Then, you make that decision. And then you weigh the pros and cons of outsourcing. When you outsource, you generally save money. You generally save 10 to 20% of your own internal costs. Outsourced companies are a little more efficient. They can share labor amongst different customers. You don't keep people around not doing anything. So there's always work to do. So they're more efficient. You can economically manage volume swings when you outsource it, right? We're geared to be able to handle differential volumes day to day, week to week, right? We know how to source people. We know how to effectively use them. When you outsource, you can focus on your core business. And your core business isn't getting the product out the door. your core business is growing your company, selling, figuring out different things that you have to do to stay competitive, to grow, to be a differentiator. And then, again, when you outsource, you can scale very, very quickly, both up and down. Hey, I've got an idea. I want to have a promotion at the end of this month. It's 2 weeks away. Harry, we're going to run a promotion. We think we're going to have 2 to 3x of the sales over a 4-day period. Boom, you're done. The back end is all better been taken care of. Harry's going to figure out what he's got to do to get that 4 times volume through. You can now focus on getting your message out to people to buy. The cons, potentially, you may lose a little bit of control, right? You're now outsourcing it to someone, Harry and his people. Do they really care like my people care? Are they really going to focus on the product, and are they going to give it the attention that my people will have? I can just walk in my warehouse and see what my people are doing. Harry's is not here. Maybe it's 100 miles away. Maybe it's just a block away, but I don't have that direct access that I had before. You may lose people when you make an outsourcing decision. As a third-party provider, we're more than happy to take the people that work for you into our environment. That's great. They already bring tribal knowledge. They've already got ideas of how this should happen. You've probably already pre-screened them and indoctrinated them. We'd be more than happy to take them on. Sometimes it's not practical. Your office may be in New York. Your shipping may be in Dallas. Your people won't have an opportunity. So that's a decision that, these people have been loyal to me as I've grown my business. I can potentially lose them. And then, managing a third-party provider is not the same as managing your own warehouse. It's a very, very different skill set. You're not managing directly. You've now given your business to another company, and you've got to learn how to manage that company effectively, which is really a matter of setting up the right service level agreements. Hey, I want 99% on-time shipping. I want you to receive product within 6 hours. I want this level of inventory accuracy. In a way, it's a little bit of a relief, because now you can just drive the standards that you want and manage that, versus you're standing in the middle of a warehouse trying to figure out how to make all of that happen. Very, very different skill set in managing through someone versus doing it yourself. Might be a great example is that you become a general contractor. You used to kind of do all the things in your house. You did the plumbing, you did the framing, you did the electrical stuff. Now you're getting bigger. You can't do that anymore. Now you've got to hire electricians. You've got to hire a framing company. You've got to hire a plumbing company, and you've got to manage them to do the work the same way you've done that. A little bit different.
Yeah. That's all top advice. Top advice. Let's, if I may, let's talk to the guy that actually does have a warehouse for a second, and they've got a little, distribution center for their own e-commerce business. What are some of the things that you would advise that they think about for their own business? Some of the key elements they definitely need to get right in that sort of do it yourself is the wrong phrase, but in terms of in their warehouse, what are some of the key things you think they should hit?
Well, they should always look at a continuous improvement program, right? Because costs go up. Your cost of doing business is always going to increase unless you're in tough economic times. You can assume you're going to have to pay your people a little bit more for services. Here in the States, every year the parcel carriers go through a general rate increase of about 6%. I mean, you can bank on that like death and taxes. It just seems to go up every year. So I think what you need to be thinking about is, how can you continue to provide value, because you can't always pass everything through. At times that becomes, that may make you a little bit less competitive, and it may certainly erode your bottom margin. So you want to constantly be focusing on, how can I get more productive with the people that I have? How can I get more efficient? Maybe you're doing everything manually today, so you want to start to think about, how do I automate some of this stuff, right? What do I need to think about for automation, and what do I think about for processes? So they need to be thinking about the future, and how they build their, how they approach the future, and how they're going to really build their business. So you don't want to build the future state for 5 years down the road and think you're going to be 5 or 6 times bigger, and then things slow down for you. We had that happen with a beverage. We know of a beverage manufacturer or retailer that was just going through the roof and wound up building 5 times, and then all of a sudden it was a little bit faddish and not really staying power. It wasn't Coca-Cola, it wasn't Pepsi-Cola. And they wound up not being able to carry all this that they've invested. They wound up going bankrupt. Consequently, I think they should think about taking a modular approach to their business growth. Legos, right? You can build a little Lego thing, but when you need to add on, it's very simple to add on. You need to think about your business the same way. How can you modularize it so that you can grow incrementally? Ideally, they're going to start to think about the levels of technology. Simple things, maybe they needed an enhanced WM system, not a small investment, but what are some of the things that they can invest in? Automatic tapers, automatic labelers, carton erectors. These are not high-tech items, but these are items that can make them more efficient and that are affordable. But if they've got any kind of a serious growth plan, they really need to start thinking about outsourcing to a third-party provider that can help them grow and grow with them and relieve them of that. Those decisions and those investments, they're not small and insignificant. You can go to a third party who's already made those investments as a shared resource and use that. Might be the difference between buying your own jet because you think you're going to be flying around a lot and still using commercial airlines for where you want to go. Yeah. Hey, I'm starting to travel now every week. Maybe I need to buy my own airplane. I mean, we may laugh about that. And for certain people, it may very, very well be the right thing to do. But for most people, we can agree it's not. They've got to figure out how to fly commercial, how to buy in advance, how to get that to work a little bit more efficiently for them.
One of the things that I came across talking about automation and some of the machines that you mentioned was on a blog on your company website, the Amware blog. It says, until machines completely replace people, the biggest productivity and profit killer in the B2C warehouse is an inability to hold on to warehouse workers, which I thought was a really insightful comment. And the blog goes on to say, we estimate that each warehouse associate who leaves costs companies about $8,500. Is this something that you've noticed? I mean, obviously it's on your company blog, but I maybe you can just expand on that a little bit further.
So the current situation here in the States is that there's 11 million open jobs and 4 million people. Right. If you believe that. So it's a buyer's market if you want to think about employees and associates. Clearly, when someone leaves, you've got to go through retraining. You've got to go through a learning curve. That takes time. Their efficiency, their productivity doesn't come up to speed for 3-4 months, depending upon what they're doing. It's a morale killer. People start to leave around you. You start to wonder, why am I here? What do these people know who are coming and going that I don't know? So it's very, very real. It's something that has to be focused on. And it's something today that you have to work with your associates to make sure you make it a good place, you're competitive, you include them, they're part of the solution. They're not just chattel who comes in and goes and, do what we tell you to do. It's a very different environment. You want them to feel a part of the solution and that they make a difference, which means you have to resource them properly. You have to give them the right tools, and you've got to spend time and not take for granted they're going to be here. You've actually got to spend time investing in them and making sure you hear them, spend time with them, know them, understand what drives them. We use a tool here called Predictive Index, which makes sure that we can match people to the right job so that they're happy doing it, as opposed to it's a paycheck. I need a paycheck. I think wages here in the States have gone through the roof because of supply and demand, because businesses are growing, and you don't want employees leaving for 50 cents or 25 cents. You really want them to stay because they want to be part of what you're doing. They believe in what you're doing. They want to be part of it. They feel you're putting back in them. Just like opening up that box and having that great experience, they like walking through your door and not feeling like they're going to be working on the salt mine for 8 hours. That, hey, I'm going to be in here. I enjoy being here. I've got people I enjoy working with, and I'm appreciated when I'm here. That, more than anything else, next to a paycheck, is what people really, really want. They want to be appreciated. They want a pat on the back. They want a shout out when they do a great job.
Yeah, that's so helpful because I think I can't remember if it was the same blog or somewhere else that I've read it, that the churn rate of staff in warehouses is like 40% or some crazy high amount of people that just come and go and are dissatisfied, and the high costs associated with that are worth bearing in mind. Actually, if you're an e-commerce entrepreneur and you do need staff in your warehouse. I thought that was super insightful. The other thing, this was on a blog, I think you wrote this one, Harry, on multichannelmerchant.com. And this is something else that when I noticed this in our own e-commerce businesses, it changed how we did things significantly, if I'm honest with you. And I just wanted to draw it out. If you currently ship 100,000 items per year with a 98.5% accuracy, that means that 1,500 customers won't get the right order. So, for example, you could wind up paying around $43.23. I think this was based on an example per error, which equates to 65 grand per year to correct these issues on a 90. So, at first glance, 98.5% accuracy sounds really good. But then when you throw the mathematics in this and go, hang on a minute, there's a cost here of putting something right, and you need to track that to a total of 65 grand. This is what freaked me out a few years ago when we tracked, we were losing like 70 grand a year just because on picking and packing errors in the warehouse. And we thought we were doing pretty good.
You were probably doing pretty good. And to your point, it's great when you tell customers, I'm going to give you 98.5 or 99. They're all excited about it. That's great until they do what you do and put pencil to paper and say, wait a minute, what does that 1% mean? Well, I'm going to disappoint 500 customers a month for you. And they, wait a minute, what do you mean? Well, that's what 99% means. At O'Hare Airport, 99% means 2 takeoffs or landings are not going to make it every day. That's what 99% means in the airline business. 99% in our business, because we have people working, yes, we're going to have it. And so we need to talk about that. What is an acceptable level for you? And what do you think it's worth it to go from 99 to 99.5 to 99.9? And there are things that we can do, obviously, additional checks. But more importantly, it's really technology that you can add in. Because if you think about the repetitive nature of what people do, we have some people who can pick 200 orders an hour over a 7-hour day. They're picking 1,400 orders, couple of line items. They may make a mistake or two, right? They're human. You're not dealing with robots here. So we've installed things like Pick to Light, where they can just focus on a light that lights up, and they go into that bin, and it tells them 2, and they pick 2 from that. That helps improve accuracy. Obviously, the ability to scan an item improves accuracy. Weight scales that weigh shipments before they go out, that helps accuracy. We have voice pick in our warehouse that literally tells someone what they need to pick, and they need to respond back, and they also need to scan back. So there are levels and layers of quality that you can put in, but they are not inexpensive. And as you talk about someone who is growing their business and wants this level of accuracy, this is what they're looking at. This is what they have to do. Now, this is why in the airline industry, it's why we use checklists. No matter how many years you've been flying, every pilot that works for an airline, every day for everything has a checklist to run through. And you need to be thankful for that, because it's easy to forget stuff because you have multiple flights in a day. And there have been issues in the airline industry previously where they've run through a checklist and didn't do it diligently, and it wound up not with a good outcome.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Harry, I'm aware of time here, and so I wanted to touch on my final question quickly, and I should have maybe asked this at the start because I think it's quite an important question. One of the things that I've noticed with our customers and with even me in my own demand in buying online is I am becoming more and more aware of the sustainability issues with e-commerce, especially around shipping in a way that is not environmentally sustainable. I think it's becoming a bigger and bigger global problem. What are some of the things that you see there in your industry that are improving sustainability?
Packaging, start with packaging, right? Make sure that packaging, first and foremost, is the right size so there's not waste that's associated with it for a lot of reasons, not just sustainability, but cost. If you're shipping in oversized boxes, you're going to pay a dimensional penalty with parcel carriers. But you're also going to put more stuff potentially in a landfill if you do that. So making sure that packaging is right. Really going away from plastics to more paper products always helps. So using paper as a dunnage inside the package versus plastic, airbags, peanuts. Those things don't necessarily dissolve well in a landfill, but paper does.
Mm.
Paper is recyclable. Cardboard is recyclable. So we're trying to use not just materials that can be recycled, but we're trying to use materials that have been recycled so that we're not just starting, we're not always using something new. We're outsourcing corrugated that's been recycled, paper that's been recycled. And so from a sustainability perspective, we can do that. And we can do that while we lower costs as well.
Mm. No, it's super important. One of the things that, if you're a regular listener to the show, you will have heard me mention this before, but one of the things that we did in our e-commerce business was we substituted. I can't say that word. We substituted, the plastic bubbles that people use. We substituted them for popcorn because we found popcorn was a lightweight material, was biodegradable. It was a little bit fun. It was quirky, so customers talked about it. Obviously, it didn't have caramel or butter on it. It was just plain popcorn. And it was just great for us, and customers absolutely loved it. And they were posting pictures of it all over social media. And it meant the warehouse smelled of popcorn. And if you ever needed a low-calorie snack, you just went to the warehouse and got some. It was a great packaging material. Really, really good. Harry, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being with us. It's been an absolute treat. I can't believe how quickly the time's gone, if I'm honest with you. How do people reach you? How do they connect with you if they want to do that?
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure as well. Thank you for having me. If people need to reach me, best way is email. It would be harry.drajpuch, DRAJPUCH @AmwareLogistics.com, or just take that mouthful name and look me up on LinkedIn. You can message me that way as well.
Yeah, I did have to clarify how I pronounced your surname at the start, didn't I? It's great. And we will, of course, link to Harry, both his email and his LinkedIn profile in the show notes. You can get those for free on the website, ecommercepodcast.net. But Harry, from me, I genuinely really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing a lot of value.
Matt, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Hope we do it again.
So there you have it. What a fantastic conversation. Huge thanks again to Harry for joining me today. Love that conversation. What a legend. What a lot of experience that chap has. Also, let me give a big shout out to today's show sponsor, the e-commerce cohort. Head over to ecommercecohort.com for more information about this new type of membership and community that you can join. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from because, as I like to say, we have some great episodes lined up and I don't want you to miss any of them. And in case no one has told you yet today, let me be the first person to do it. You, my friend, are awesome, utterly awesome. And it's a burden we all have to bear. Granted, some of us wear it better than others. But it is what it is. The e-commerce podcast is produced by Orion Media. You can find our entire archive of episodes on your favorite podcast app, and the team that makes this show possible is the wonderful and talented and amazing all-round good egg, which is Sadaf Bainon, Josh Catchpole, Estella Robin, and Tim Johnson. Our theme song has been written by my good self and my son Josh Edmondson. And if you would like to read the transcript or show notes, head over to our website, ecommercepodcast.net, where you can also sign up for our newsletter. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic week. I will see you next time. Bye for now.